Tune into the Kate Daly Show. Once you're awake, it's hard to go back to sheep. The Kate Daly Show starts now.
I'm in show business, yes? Why come to me?
Well, I'll tell you why, Mr. Morse. 5440 a fight. What does that mean?
It's a slogan. It's from the...
Remember the Maine.
Yeah, that's gotta be.
Tippecanoe and Tyler, too.
No.
They're war slogans, Mr. Morse. We remember the slogans, we can't even remember the wars. You know why?
Why?
It's show business. That's why we're here. Naked girl, covered in napalm. V for victory. 5 Marines raising the flag. Mount Suribachi. You remember the picture 50 years from now, you'll have forgotten the war. War is show business. That's why we're here.
They gotta know at some point.
Who?
Who? The public.
They gotta know.
Yes. And you want me to do what?
We want you to produce.
You want me to produce your war?
Not a war, it's a pageant. We need a theme, a song, some visuals. We need, it's a pageant. It's like the Oscars. That's why we came to you.
Hi, I'm Gil Fulbright. The people who run my campaign, they've made this commercial, and I'm in it. This campaign, it's not about me. It's about crafting a version of me that'll appeal to you. A version that visits random work sites with paid actors, pointing at things. Has a conventionally attractive yet curiously still family. Listening to my constituents, legislating, these are things I don't do. What I do is spend about 70% of my time raising funds for re-election. I'd do anything to stay in office. My name's Gil Fulbright, but hell, I'll change my name to Phil Goldbright or Bill Fulbright or fill up my mouth with farts. These are the things that are important to me. And these are the fine people that finance my campaign. Now, in order to do these things, I have to stay in office. And to stay in office, I have to keep these guys happy. Now, if any of these things make these guys unhappy, well, my hands are tied. So come November, the choice is clear. Do you want another spineless mouthpiece for special interest and lobbyists? Or a spineless mouthpiece for special interest and lobbyists? I'm Philip a Mouth with Farts, and I approve this message.
Communities.
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
We are concerned about troubling and irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
Or do they teach you to talk like this in some Panama City sailor bar, or is this getaway day and your last shot at his whiskey? Sell crazy someplace else. We're all stocked up here.
All right, welcome. That was quite the lead into the show, wasn't it? Welcome, Kate Daly Show. Oh, the news. Oh, the news. So that you first heard, I'm not a fan of like Dustin Hoffman and Robert De Niro, especially Robert De Niro, but that was, the war is a pageant and we have to put on a pageant and we have to sell it. And I just wanted to, there's 2 things that come to mind whenever I hear that clip, okay? And besides the fake news media clip, which is very telling, and besides all the other clips, but I do find it kind of fascinating that we haven't caught on yet. And, Dustin Hoffman was talking about the wars. Okay. He was talking about, let me just play this part of the clip again. Just listen. Cause he actually unveils kind of a lot in this movie. Here we go.
Tune into the Kate Daly Show.
Sorry, not that part.
Once you're awake, it's hard to go back to sheep.
But that's
the
true.
Kate Daly Show starts now.
I'm in show business, yes? Why come to me?
Well, I'll tell you why, Mr. Morse. 5440 a fight. What does that mean?
It's a slogan. It's from the...
Remember the Maine.
Yeah, that's gotta be.
Tippecanoe and Tyler, too.
No.
They're war slogans, Mr. Morse. We remember the slogans, we can't even remember the wars. You know why?
Why?
It's show business. That's why we're here. Naked girl, covered in napalm. V for victory. 5 Marines raising the flag. Mount Suribachi. You remember the picture 50 years from now, you'll have forgotten the war. War is show business. That's why we're here.
They gotta know at some point.
Who?
Who? The public.
They gotta know.
Yes. And you want me to do what?
We want you to produce.
You want me to produce your war?
Not a war, it's a pageant. We need a theme, a song, some visuals. We need, it's a pageant. It's like the Oscars. That's why we came to you.
So that, honestly, Don't you kind of wonder now how true that movie was, even though I can't stand Robert De Niro? He's such a loser. But isn't that an interesting unveiling, if you will? Because I just want to read the headline to you today. So here's the headline today. Iran taunts just getting started. Remember how I said this would go on and on and on? Because everybody was kind of like, no, it'll end quick. Really? No, they're getting a lot of mileage. So just getting started. These are the headlines. Now, I want you to see what headlines are linked together. Particularly, I'm on Drudge right now, so I can tell you exactly the 4 headlines. Now, they want you to walk away with these 4 headlines in mind. Iran taunts just getting started. Now, realize that Iran is only the size of Alaska. And realize that we could do anything we wanted to Iran at any time and take them out completely. We really could. We have more firepower. We have more everything. Okay. So just with that in mind, Iran taunts. Okay. Then it's launches more missiles. Okay. Really? Why would they do that? To invite more of our stuff? Really? It doesn't even make sense. Okay. They are the size of Alaska. Okay. Keep that in mind. Dozen attacks on U.S. since ceasefire. Dozen attacks on USA? Really? Okay. I guess we're supposed to believe that. I mean, it could be true in the theater of the manipulation as it's being manipulated, sure. That they would just choose to do that after a ceasefire on their own without it being completely theater and manipulated? No. And then, of course, in this lineup, the 4th headline is gas tops $7 in California. What they want you to do is walk away with, this is causing our gas prices. This is why our food is so expensive. This is why we're in a world of hurt. This is why you can't afford to live. And this is why our economy is crap, and it's going to stay crap. Why? Go back to the first headline. Iran taunts, they're just getting started. This is the easiest scapegoat I have ever seen for blaming our economy. Because all they have to do over and over and over again is lump the economy into the Iran headlines. And then no one asks a single question on our right side. Okay. I'm conservative, so I will tell you that no one asks a single question about it. They're not blaming anyone for it. They're just going, oh, war in Iran. But what we're not asking is, why are we at war with Iran? So I always find this kind of stuff so nutty that you kind of have to spell it out a little bit for people, because people will literally turn a blind eye to it. They don't know how to factor it all in. I've found. Okay. So I thought that was kind of fascinating. Then I was watching a show about Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay. And they're really trying to build him up as California's hero. Now, I left California when he went into office. And so I left before that, and I was raised there. And when you saw Arnold running for governor, and you knew he was going to get in. And it wasn't because he was that popular. It was because he would play to both sides. He played the Republican card and he played the Democrat card. And I was watching this show on him, and they were highlighting what was so fantastic about him. And what they were saying was, basically, he was a liar, because he was like, I'm a Republican, yet I'm completely into the environment. I'm totally into the environment. And I'm so into the environment that over the course of my 2 terms, I am going to instill more environmental crap protection lies than any state in the union. And Obama was congratulating him for setting the tone. See, he had somebody to blame. Oh, look at California. He's a Republican in word only. And so now the rest of the nation can go nuts on the whole climate debacle. Okay. Now, climate. Let me go to climate for just a second. Okay. Because this is so important. My favorite clip from Dan Pena, the billionaire. Here we go. I want to play this, but I do have other things I've got to get to. So I want to play this really fast, because if you have any questions about climate, this should answer them about the climate garbly-gook. Okay. Because Schwarzenegger, the reason I brought up Schwarzenegger before I play this clip is because the second he decided to run for office, which was 2 months before he actually got into office, okay, because Gray Davis was taken out of office. Before he went in, his press secretary said, oh my gosh, we don't have a basically a pageant. We don't have a producer. We don't have a theme. We don't have blah, 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 blah. Okay. We don't have all these things. And I was sitting there thinking about this, and I was thinking, isn't it interesting that when somebody runs for office, they have to have a theme? I'm looking at posters around my county, even for my own commissioners, and they're the dorkiest sayings that you've ever heard. Okay. Now, I'm a conservative, keep this in mind, but MAGA, Make America Great Again, was completely Reagan. I mean, it was just like they just regurgitate the same sayings, and then it's how the media sells it. Okay. So at how they market it to us. So now MAGA is bad, okay? Whereas before MAGA was never even questioned. It was just a theme for Reagan. But they all have themes. They all have pageants. They all have producers. They all have chiefs of staff crafting and manipulating. No one can just get up at a podium anymore and say, this is what I believe in. This is what I stand for. These are the principles. Let's get back to the Constitution. Let's get rid of government. Let's start really governing for the people, and the people own us. Oh no, it's a career now. So when Schwarzenegger went in, he went in with this, I'm going to basically screw people over, but look like a hero. So I'm going to give you the worst climate gobbledygook laws and regulations that you've ever seen on steroids. In fact, when the climate people went to him and said, sell this for us because you're a Republican, we need you to say it. They said 5% change. He came back with 25% change. Yeah, it was on steroids. So when it comes to climate, I'm going to play one clip for you. This should basically tell you all you need to know about the climate gobbledygook before I move on.
I've got children. I've got 21, 23-year-old children.
They're not children.
And what's
They're
their
adults.
future with you people with money? You talk about money all of the time.
Okay. Sit down, please.
This is
Sit
Dan
down,
Pena.
please. In the front row.
The billionaire.
2011, my wife and I were in Antarctica, renewing our vows. For most of you that don't know, Antarctica's on a mountaintop. Okay? And there is a $500 million facility, scientific facility there. And the scientists came to give us presentations about global warming. And they had cores of ice that they had drilled. They had drilled 4,000 or 5,000 cores, and they only brought 15 or 20. So they're going through the second or third core, and they said 275,000 years ago, this was the temperature, blah, 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 blah. And then 55,000 years ago, the world was 2 degrees warmer Celsius than it is today. This is 2011. And stop. And he said, and I said, well, you mean the whole world? He says, yes. And the poles are only benchmarks. And I said, well, what about the things the young woman alluded to, okay? And he said, it's all cyclical. And although the gas may have exacerbated it, in the cosmos of time, it's not a fart in the wind. In the cosmos of time, of the 13.8 billion years, it's not a fart in the wind.
Yeah.
Now, my direct answer to your question, if that were really true, which you believe, and let's just for a moment say that it is true, that means that the best scenario vis-a-vis global warming is about 10 feet raise in water. That's the best scenario over the next 40, 50 years. That's the best scenario. The worst scenario is about 100 feet. But let's just take the 10 feet. If the water on the planet is going to rise up 10 feet, that means the southern part of the United States is gone. England is gone. Most of Europe is gone. And I can go, most of Central America is gone. Okay. If that's the case, let's just take Florida, for example, which is one of the fastest growing beachfront condominiums on the planet. In the prospectus, when you invest, there should be, in the footnotes, if global warming is for real, they won't put it that way, global warming happens and water rises 10 feet, this investment you made is not one single investment prospectus written since 2000, this century, has alluded to global warming. If it were really true, the banks wouldn't invest. The banks wouldn't finance. So the people that have the money, and I'm jealous of the Vice President, Gore. I am jealous he came up with a scam before I did. Because the financial institutions, the banks of this world know it's not going to happen. Otherwise, you couldn't get a loan in London. You know those 30, 40-year mortgages? The world will be over by then. Is Barclays Bank going to give you a loan? With the greatest respect, ma'am, it's the greatest fraud that's been perpetrated on mankind this century.
Oh my gosh, yes. So that was Dan Pena, the billionaire, and he's pointing out the scam because the banks would not loan on property for the length of the amount of the loans, and they would have to, by law, disclose it if it was real. And so so here's Arnold Schwarzenegger. I can't talk, and they're building him up into hero status. He's like almost 80, and they're trying to say that he was the best governor that California ever had, even though he screwed California over so badly with so many things that he did. And then he sort of flipped parties again and again and again, and their ideas and their values, and just was kind of mixing it up and giving you a big old toss salad, of values. It was very, very weird. And even his chief of staff was like a total abortionist, lesbian, but it was just weird. Okay. His whole time was weird. The only thing I ever liked about Schwarzenegger was he said, don't just disagree with me. Tell me why you're disagreeing with me, or listen to at least what I have to say. Don't turn it off because the party says to believe this thing, but actually listen. It's the only thing I can respect about both terms. But there's shows now that are glorifying him, and he actually brought some pretty ruthless legislation to people in California and made it even more impossible to live there, because what he was doing was setting up decades of problems for California. So much to talk about. But I love Dan Pena's clip, the billionaire, because he just tells it like it is, and he's like, look people. And I had to cut out all the F words. So you're welcome. But anyway, so I also wanted to, there was a couple things on the docket to talk about. Now, what the Met Gala is going on here. What is this? Okay. So I was looking at all these photos in my feed on Facebook, and I'm like, and it is a feed. We are cattle. Anyway, so I'm looking at my feed and I'm like, Heidi Klum, this is how she came to the Met Gala. These people are getting so weird. It totally reminds me of Hunger Games. The Hunger Games looks. I mean, this is exactly what they're doing, and it's so bizarre. But I just had to kind of show you this because they're getting weirder and weirder and weirder. Katy Perry showed up with her face all covered like a weird astronaut, like alien. I mean, it's bizarre. And we live in a very bizarre world. But the reason I wanted to bring this up was to go back to the first clip and show you the fakery of all of it. The Hollywood stars, the fakery. I was looking at Lisa Rinna at the Met Gala, and she was all dressed up. And I actually thought she was wearing those red wax lips that everyone used to wear, okay, when you were little. I thought she was wearing those, but no, it was her own lips. She's embellished them so much, they look like the red cartoon lips. But I was looking at her outfit, her clownish outfit, and I was like, why is she even at the Met Gala? She's not in anything. She's on no movies. The Kardashians don't do anything. They're not in anything. It's bizarre that the stars that get accepted into this realm. And then I was watching the, They Live Among Us, movie. And I was kind of reflecting on a scene that was talking about, you're not like us. We're a whole different breed, baby. We're a whole different breed in Hollywood. And this is more proof of that. I look at her and I'm like, for somebody to come in this and just be so off the wall and so crazy, you have to just be completely nuts. So I think Hollywood, I should do another show on Hollywood because of the more stuff I found, but it's just, the fakery is so unbelievable. It's just so unbelievable that you have to believe it because it's so crazy. I mean, anyway, I won't concentrate on that on this show because I have other things I want to bring up, but wow. It is a club and we're not in it. Okay. These people are manufactured and designed to be in front of your face, and they're designed to sell you nuts. Okay. They're designed to sell you crazy. Just like the Jack, what's his face? Nicholson clip. He's selling me crazy. Because they are. Okay. So then I was looking at just a couple of things. So Spirit Airlines, that was odd. Spirit Airlines is, out of business, and Elizabeth Warren and her ilk, kind of going after them on the chopping block, and some of the things that they did to make this happen because they could have merged. I think didn't JetBlue offer them money a while ago? Offer them money so you could keep those jobs. Okay, but this is further evidence to when I said in 2020, and it was very strange to me because I honestly can't remember who it was. I think it was the Secretary of the Interior, but he was on the steps of the White House. Trump was in. This was 2020, and it was telling us. He was telling us that three major businesses in America, call them businesses in America, were going to be owned by the government completely. They had their hooks in them already, but now it was going to be a complete ownership. And after I watched that, I thought, oh, okay, well, this is pretty evident. So hospitals, okay, airline industry, okay, they could completely control them. And then, of course, I thought it would be probably trucking, like transportation in general, kind of like scooping all of them up. So this move to make sure that Spirit is gone is more of a move to take the big ones, just make them bigger, and then just really, what they really should do, if they were being honest, would be to put a stamp on all airplanes and just say owned by the U.S. government airway. That's really what it should be, because that's what it's turning into. And I know you guys can see that too. So the other thing was, going back to Schwarzenegger, by the way, fake governors. When I say fake governors and fake Hollywood and fake everything, Schwarzenegger was fake when he then got the shot. He got the vaccination in COVID times, got the vaccination, told everyone to go get it, used a movie line from his movie for, you will live, come with me and you will live from Terminator. And he also pushed the January 6th lie that people were there at that Capitol. And I'm really hoping by now, because I had it out with one of the FBI guys, one of the heads of the FBI had it out before an interview, and it was about the fact that January 6th lies, and that there were so many feds there doing the dirty work, and it wasn't your normal person going there to see the Electoral College votes read, and you never heard another word about the Electoral College votes because it was the biggest scam perpetuated. It was a lie. It was taken over by the feds, January 6th. Taken over by the feds, turned into a circus so that no one mentioned Electoral College votes because they scammed us on those. Okay. They did not say Biden. Okay. So there were double slates in so many states and they did not say Biden. So they didn't want your eyeballs on that. And so they wanted your eyeballs on the ruckus outside on the Capitol lawn. And the thing is it was all federal. It was all feds. It was all agents. And shame on you guys for perpetuating that lie and knowing you were doing it, because you had to dress up and look like fools to do it, and align yourself and look like the crowd. And they just almost like did this campy version of the crowd just to make it look real. I don't know. But you feds that did that, I hope you're ashamed of yourself. I really do. You're the problem in America. So anyway, Schwarzenegger totally was for the COVID shots, completely for the lockdown, completely for the January 6th lies, completely for everything on the list for bigger plans. And I'm going to talk about that because I want to tell you in the past of a bigger plan that was instigated, and people I don't think really realize the roots behind it. So, this show is more about learning than it is just about hearing what you want to hear. So, I'm not going to do a show where I'm just going to tell you what you want to hear. So, I also, before I get there, I wanted to mention the ticks. Now, the ticks, the uptick on the ticks. This is an interesting one too, because it is a war on meat. So the New American was asking this question, and it was a thought experiment. Has it become full-blown warfare? So they talked in a few months back about a science journal, and it was causing all these problems. And they were proposing that it might be beneficial to the planet to spread Lone Star ticks around. Okay. And I wouldn't put it past them to do it because they've instigated this kind of thing before. So because these ticks spread what is called alpha-gal syndrome, AGS, it takes its name from the galactose alpha 1,3 galactose, a sugar present in the meat of most mammals. So the immune systems of a tick bite victim can develop allergic antibodies to the meat sugar and then can have a severe allergic reaction when they eat red meat, okay? Beef, pork, or lamb. Now, what's fascinating about that is they already did this to our wheat. Okay, we already poisoned our wheat with double sprays and triple sprays of glyphosate since 1995. Before that, we didn't have any gluten issues, not like we have now. And so now we can't even, people are just frantic trying to eat, and they have to go gluten-free. So what they're saying is now, is this an attack on meat? Is this an attack to cause an allergic reaction? Are they spreading these things around? So there were two ethicists in Western Michigan University professors, Parker Crutchfield and Blake Harith. They published their proposal entitled, I kid you not, entitled Beneficial Bloodsucking. Okay, this was just in October. I know, it just made me want to kind of throw up a little. Okay, sorry. Beneficial bloodsucking. This is these two Western Michigan University professors in the October 2025 issue of journal Bioethics. And they said, herein, we argue that if eating meat is morally impermissible, then efforts to prevent the spread of tick-borne AGS are also morally impermissible. Okay. And they said it is presently feasible to genetically edit the disease carrying capacity of ticks. And if this practice can be applied to ticks carrying AGS, then promoting the proliferation of tick-borne AGS is morally obligatory. So they've drunk the climate cult Kool-Aid. Preventing the spread of this plague is morally impermissible, and promoting its proliferation is morally obligatory because reducing meat consumption will supposedly reduce our carbon footprint. Okay. Now remember, Schwarzenegger was the one that started the insanity regulations. But that's why all these stories kind of tie in together. But so yes, it's supposed to reduce our carbon footprint, which will supposedly reduce global warming. So they think they have a reason to do this. They think they have a moral reason to think that this is okay. So these Lone Star ticks, okay, and this AGS meat allergy they cause are not mere thought experiences, experiments. They're real, and they have rapidly spread to 27 states from Texas to Maine, according to the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the awful and horrific, fraudulent CDC. As many as 450,000 Americans may be affected. Remember when I did the story about boxes of ticks kind of showing up? Just different places in the Midwest. Very weird. Anyway, I just wouldn't put it past them. But these experts say the CDC number is almost certainly undercount because most health providers are not familiar with the disease, the symptoms, or testing protocols for it. So they'll blame it on something else. But in the recent days and weeks, health authorities in Massachusetts, Virginia, New York, Delaware, Missouri, and Ohio have alerted the public to this emerging threat. See, it was Missouri and Ohio that I was hearing that boxes of ticks were sort of just showing up, which is weird. And then this once rare allergy that can cause severe reactions hours after eating red meat is rising in the United States right now. So the condition known as alpha-gal syndrome is typically linked to bites from this tick. And then it's really increasingly being recognized as this growing health concern. So it's a food allergy. Now, they caused a food allergy with our wheat. So this is just getting weird, isn't it? It's almost like they don't want us to have a food supply. Yeah. Interesting. So, in light of these morally obligatory mindset of many climate cultists, this spread of this Lone Star tick threat and this propaganda campaign, okay, meat will spare. Can we spare people the conspiracy theorist thing? Because I tell you, this is very, very real, and that this new pestilence might have been engineered. So quit calling it a conspiracy, people. I swear people that call things a conspiracy anymore, like a joke, I don't know what your problem is. I really don't, because it's all in front of you. Just look. They just don't want to look. All right, caller, go right ahead. You're on.
Greetings, Kate.
Hi there.
A couple of things. I've got an echo.
Yeah, I don't know why. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the internet appears to be scrubbed from the references to the boxes of ticks. All I'm finding is
Wait,
that is
you're going in and out. Talk right into the phone.
I'm not able to find anything on the internet now that talks about the boxes of ticks. It looks like.
Are you moving the? I'm sorry. Are you moving the phone around? Because it sounds like okay. Interesting. Can you take me off speaker? There we go.
How about now?
Perfect. Go right ahead.
I apologize.
No,
okay. I called and talked to the head of the Cattlemen's Association in the state of Tennessee yesterday.
Okay.
And they're aware of the alpha-gal, but they're not aware of the source of it, that it's a bioweapon. They're not aware of the fact that all of your congressmen in the state of Tennessee are on the payroll, and they're not doing anything to deal with it. And I did a search looking for references to these boxes of ticks. Literally, the entire internet has been scrubbed of every reference to that, and there's nothing but references that this is all a hoax. However, but if you look at the mechanism, we've had ticks forever. All right, I'm 65 today. Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday.
We've had ticks forever. We've had cows getting bit by ticks, and we still eat the cows. We still drink the milk. No problem. Why all of a sudden does the tick have the ability to bite us? And because it's already bitten a cow, create an allergic reaction in us. The same mechanism that they used in the COVID shot in order to cause an autoimmune response is the same technique they're using. And I found one article, they've now got wait for it, a shot with nanobots that will go in and fix your defective genes.
I'm sorry, but you have to be a complete moron at this point. I'm sorry to take any shot of theirs. I don't even understand why people would do this. Anyway, go ahead. They really do have a new shot. Oh, well, you know what? That doesn't shock me.
What this is a way to eliminate the food, not only eliminate the food chains, but it will put all of these family farmers, ranchers, and milk producers out of business. And then Gates will come in and buy up all this land at pennies on the dollar. And there you go. They push everybody into 15-minute cities eating the manufactured processed meat in a lab. And we got the detention camps ready with the high volume biological waste incinerators if you ever get out of line.
Okay. All right. I thank you for your call, and happy birthday, by the way. Have a good one. I really appreciate you. Thank you. He sends a lot of information my way. Thank you. It's bizarre. This whole, I don't think people are associating with illness, but they're not going, is it a war on meat? Glyphosate makes us sick. It eats your minerals, right? This is why I'm always saying drink Cardio Miracle, drink Hydrate from the Dr. Ardis show, drink, make sure you're getting your minerals. Your mineral content from Cardio Miracle is amazing. So drink it, because there's only a few products that I would say, because being a talk show host for so long, 16 years, and over 28 million listens, by the way, I will tell you, I've been sent a lot of products, and I have tried so many that I literally have drawers full of them. Okay. And what's fascinating is the mineral intake from Cardio Miracle is really the only one that actually felt like I actually really felt on steroids. So it is the one with the most. So go get cardiomiracle.com, because glyphosate eats up your minerals and your vitamins in your body. And so it's so toxic to us, and it's sprayed multiple times since 1995. The same year autism went up through the roof. Glyphosate, Stephanie Seneff, Dr. Seneff from MIT, kind of blew the whistle on that and said glyphosate, the amount of glyphosate mixed with the metals in the shots for little guys, little babies, is what was causing the huge rise in autism since 1995. So when we say well-laid plans, do they know they're doing things like this? I would say yes. And I would say the plan comes in installments. People might not know the whole plan when they're part of the plan, but I think they have to be doing this in installments because it would be very difficult to not to be able to. It would be very difficult to think of this as a coincidence. Does that make sense? So. Okay, so now we have a war on meat. Now we have a war on this. And so just be very, very, I would say, diligent in making sure that you make friends with your local farmers, that you buy meat locally, that that you're learning a lot about these kinds of ticks, because this is a great way to, like the caller said, do a land grab, our food land grab. Okay. And then, of course, create allergies to where then you can only eat what? What is their solution? I know you know it. Plant-based, chemical-based, in a petri dish meat, right? Because you're still going to want meat. So you're going to go, oh, well, if this is ridden with ticks and this is going to give me an allergy, I'm going to stay away from it because I'm going to go get their little Tyson petri dish and eat this weird thing. This 3D meat, okay? This crazy meat product that's not meat. So it's a great way to engineer and manufacture what we digest and what we take in, okay? So just kind of letting people understand a little bit more about this. By the way, at Davos, when Larry Finkster said that we will be last on the totem pole for utilities, and that the data centers get it all. The data centers get the water and electricity first, and people will have to be the long list down the line. When they had their dinner, guess what they ate? Kobe beef, luxury Wagyu. Yeah. $1,000 a pound, and is what the kind of meat that they were eating. Isn't that, I just had to just tell you that because I just think that's just kind of amazing, by the way. So then we had just the hypocrisy and going in their jets, with their whole climate change spiel. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Let me take another caller. Okay, caller, go right ahead. You're on.
Yeah, Kate, just a
Sure.
follow up on the meat situation.
Mhm.
So I source my meat from local cattle places that
Me
raise
too.
their beef.
Uh-huh.
What do you think they're going to do to these guys, to the small cattle rancher who's raising stuff and then selling beef, basically direct to customers? Or you think they're going to have some program to go after these guys and shut them down?
Yes, and I also think they're getting rid of them through the bad economy, high gas. I mean, they can't even transport their animals. And in order to, I was just reading from a rancher on this topic, but it is so difficult now with the costs of fuel being so high too. There's so many things that are working against our small ranchers. Now, 100 years ago, it was 95% farming and 5% industrial, 125 years ago. Now we are the exact opposite. And actually now we're lower than 5% farming in America. So yes, it has been a slow roll to get rid of a lot of these farmers and gobble them up through industry, through government. But now they're kind of putting the hooks in them from this economy that no one's going to explain. No one's going to explain why we're even at war with Iran. That's why I say it's one of the biggest scapegoats for the economy right now, because they're tying it into all the headlines. They're manipulating it into the headlines right now so that you walk away going, that's why my gas is high, even though we only get 10% of our oil through the Strait. So it's kind of amazing. And we have enough oil here in the USA. We wouldn't have to raise prices. This is ridiculous. So
Yes,
they're getting rid of
and
them
I've
in
had
several ways.
I've had that argument with people who come in my shop. I've had the same discussion with them. In fact, the last argument I had is a woman came in and she says, "Oh, isn't Trump doing a great thing?" And I looked at her like, "What in the heck are you talking about?"
Oh boy.
I said, name one thing that you think he's done is good. She goes, "Well, I like what he's doing with Iran." And I'm like, "You're out of your mind."
Did you get her for a customer?
No, I don't think she'll ever come walking
Yeah, I
back
don't
in my
think
store
so
again.
either.
Her eyes got real big, and she's just like,
Oh
because
my
I unloaded on her on the Trump thing. I said, what is wrong with you?
Right.
It's
Oh, I
like-
love it. That's funny. That is funny. I don't know what to say anymore to people. They don't even question why we're even over there or what even caused it. They don't have a clue.
And then I followed up with, I said, all these wars that we've sent our young men to, they're getting maimed and killed. I go, you're in favor of that? Really? She goes, well, I don't think any of our guys have died in Iran yet. I go, just wait and see.
Oh, they have.
It's just a matter
We've
of
had
time.
deaths.
Somebody's going to die.
We've had deaths.
They're going to send special forces or something, and they're going to die for it. I go, and you're in favor of that? I mean, you're crazy.
I know.
Now, back on the cattle thing, I've also noted on the local Craigslist, I'm not a farmer or rancher, but I have a friend of mine who, he's got a farm, he's got a cow, he's got chickens, ducks, blah, blah, blah. And he's been looking, he wants to get another cow. The prices on Craigslist for like somebody selling a calf are off the charts. I mean, they're just crazy expensive.
I'm with you. Thank you for that. Really appreciate you. Thank you. I'll tell you what, it's insane. I also wanted to kind of go back to the WEF, okay? Which, by the way, so many of our leaders have been a part of. The WEF, the Klaus Schwab School of International Globalism. And by the way, the 8 predictions for the world in 2030 from the WEF, okay? Besides forecasting that in 2030, you'll own nothing and be happy, it also said you'll eat much less meat, an occasional treat, not a staple, for the good of the environment and our health. Now, you tell me how well this is playing out for their plans, right? You have a tick, no one can blame the tick on anybody, or they're not going to look deep enough to do it, not smart enough to do it. They're just going to say, it's kind of like war with Iran. Oh, it's just a war because we just needed to go to war for no apparent reason. Iran didn't go after anybody or anything. So yeah, we're just in a war for no reason, just like there's a tick for no reason. Okay. Same kind of thing. So the diet, this elitist propaganda have this rollout of dietary guidelines. And this is like massive cuts in animal protein. So to steer you into what? Just like I just said before, to steer you into their designed Petri dish 3D meat. And there have been some times when I've bought meat from the grocery store, and I've wondered what I was eating. There was something inside of me that went, something's off. Like something's not right about this meat. It's very weird. So I'm not quite sure what's in it or what it's made of, but that little voice, just stay spiritually in tune to be able to get that little voice inside and understand that we're going to be having to rely on that a lot. Okay. Now, tying all these stories together. Okay. So little Xi over in our little Chinese bought and sold for the Communist Party have been getting all these kudos from the green globalists and the loony left since 2016. When the Communist Party scientists issued guidelines calling on the Chinese people to reduce meat consumption by 50% by 2030. This is going on everywhere, not just here. But here we do it with a tick to hide the perpetrator. So the perpetrator is our own intelligence branches, by the way. But even the Hollywood biggies, Arnold Schwarzenegger and James Cameron, that's who Arnold Schwarzenegger did his biggest movies with, the Terminator series, pushing the message the Chinese people don't seem to be heeding the CCP guidelines. Meat consumption continues to rise. Okay, so anyway, Arnold Schwarzenegger always comes back in as this leader in California. He was not. So he played both sides. Trump is the same way. He plays both sides. He's part Republican, part Democrat, part everything. He's part everything, right? And I actually think that the Arnold Schwarzenegger run through was a great dress rehearsal in some ways for Trump. Now, when I say that, people always go nuts online. I don't know what the problem with some of these people are, but they go, Trump's a fascist. Trump's a racist. Trump hates women. Now, none of those things are true. And I'll be the first to say it. None of those things are true. You're being fed garbage and you're just recycling garbage, okay? You have to look a little deeper to find out why and how we had Trump on the scene, and then why and how we got him twice for president. And that was to sell ideas to the right that they would not normally go for, so that we would be complacent enough because he was built up as the martyr. Media was against him. People were against him, wanted to shoot him. They did a whole martyrdom climb to get the right to defend him. Okay. And then what? Not look at what was being instigated. They did the same thing with Schwarzenegger. They put Schwarzenegger in. Okay. You don't get in unless the party wants you. And they know you're going to play ball, and they know you're going to be up for the sort of like facade of the role. Okay. Because I think the governor's roles are definitely dictated, and the parties pick them because they will play ball. And so what happened was, I think that they actually did this Schwarzenegger run through. You have a Hollywood star who is governor, and this is different even than Reagan. This is more so like, people just kind of went for the idea, and then you'll like some of the things they do, right? But you'll say, but he's a Republican, so we're okay with him. And then no matter what he does, even if he puts in the biggest climate regulations this world has ever seen in the state of California to sort of lead off on Obama's mission to then give us the biggest chain yanking ever of this whole environmental nonsense. Okay. And when I say that, if you want to argue with me about it, tell me how it's affected your life. I don't know. I'll give you a few minutes. Tell me how it's affected your life. If you're 40, 50, 60, 70, how has climate change actually affected you? What have you actually seen? Because in the last 70 years, you haven't seen really anything. Okay. You just are hooked on the idea. So there is nothing there. Okay. You haven't been affected by it. You haven't seen anything change from it. You're just hell bent on taking all the plastic items from a grocery store and putting them in a cloth bag. Plastic items, cloth bag. Makes no sense. Okay. So, to go on, there was a couple things I wanted to mention because I thought this was kind of interesting. They're doing the big, before I get there. Now look, so we have a war on meat. We got a war on wheat. We have a war on our food supply. Nobody's really registering that. Okay. They're talking about illness. They're not talking about the war on what it's going to cause and the steps that are happening. Now we have the data centers going in, and in my state up north, they had a data center go in and people showed up and they were mad as hell. Not going to take it anymore from the movie, right? I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. They were pissed off for the right reasons, because the commissioners and the governor had already decided that the Box Elder data center was already going into Utah. They had already made the decision. And they do this all the time. This is why I think county commissioners across the country are the slimiest, grossest people I've ever met. When I say I've met a lot of politicians, I've had everyone on this show that you can imagine. I haven't had Trump. I've had everyone else. Okay, I've had everyone that works with him. You name it. I've had politicians. Okay. I've had Democrats. I've had mostly Republicans. I've had all kinds of politicians. Nothing is slimier and more grotesque in lying than your county commissioner. And this is by design. The parties pick them because we have election fraud. So the county commissioners are signing off on these with the bought and paid for governor. And then you have your bought and paid for county, slimy, evil little county commissioners that tell people they want to hear their thoughts, and their thoughts have nothing to do with anything. They're just there to show up and be angry. And then nothing ever happens from the thoughts or the comments. Whenever they ask for comment, they made the decision 2 to 3 years prior. That's how well laid the plans are. That's how disgusting it is. So these data centers, which will eventually be prisons for us, I really do believe that, because there's no reason to build these large data centers. They don't need them. So why are they building them? All over the place. Okay. Your county's next. There's a county about 30 minutes north of me that's getting one. And it's already been decided. And the people are the meeting was put off. It was supposed to be, I think, in the next few days. The meeting was put off because so many people showed up north to the Box Elder one and said, we don't want this. And we're screaming and angry and mad and everything else, saying, we don't want this. You're supposed to listen to us. We govern you. You're not in charge of us. You don't get to call the shots. Well, this is happening all over the country right now. And people are finally realizing, I think they're finally cluing in that they aren't invited for comment, that's a show. They're actually, that's just not what it's about. The data centers are already decided. That's just how it works. Okay. So, all right. With that being said, I just want to kind of bring this up because I thought this was kind of a good lesson for us to learn from. Okay. The show isn't going to just be what you want to hear. It has to be, the kind of going through the past and really looking at the past. So we were fine with no Department of Homeland Security for 225 years, right? We were fine, right? We did without them. We didn't need them. It wasn't like we were begging for them. Okay. And so it's usually always about another industry, but we don't clue in. We don't really kind of make the tie. Okay. So you go back to 2001 and you look at the necessity, the fake necessity for the DHS. And that was what happened in 2001. Okay. 9/11. And 9/11 was perpetrated by Mossad and it was perpetrated by our CIA. Okay. And branches of military intelligence. Okay. No one wants to hear that. And it's okay. You won't crumble to the ground when you do hear it. But I have to say that is who was behind it. Okay. So, and it wasn't Saudi Arabia and it wasn't Afghanistan and it wasn't Iraq. It was the Mossad and it was our CIA. Okay. Heading that. So then what they did was they basically were into the militarization of the police. So this is really what started we're going to give you tanks and armor and build up your SWATs all around the nation. And we're really going to have SWAT at everything. I mean, it's going to be federal, kind of the feds' ability to then train your local law enforcement. And because we're giving you gifts, right, that your city budgets are paying for, okay, your county budgets are paying for. What we're going to do is, because of those gifts, we're going to be able to kind of tell you what to do. And that's when Homeland Security, it was devised for a lot of reasons. And here's another reason that most people don't tell you about, okay? Now, I'm a conservative. I like to shoot guns. I've been trained in guns. I love guns. I've been trained since I was little, right, to defend myself and to defend anyone around me, okay? All of you should be. Those of you that pretend like you're afraid of the gun, I mean, what a pansy. Like, get a backbone. I can't believe there's so many like woke leftists that are like, a gun, Okay, you're a pansy, okay? Stop it. You're acting ridiculous. And you know what? You should know how to defend yourself. The gun isn't the thing that's going to harm you. Okay. The gun is just sitting there. Okay. But you better know how to use it. So the gun control people, okay, we're trying to get more taxes for Homeland Security, while the gun advocates were hoping to sell you more guns. Okay. So this is kind of fascinating to hear this, but just imagine like the total market for domestic sales, right? Domestic arms sales in the past, even like 15 years. Okay. So it kind of boggles the mind because every time we have a Democrat go into office, everyone buys guns. I kid you not. I mean, I watch it. Okay. It's kind of amazing what happens. And so this was like this, you've got this total market, okay, going on, which means the government is probably going to play both sides, and they do. And so, so that most of the money spent on guns in the U.S. since even when, let's just go back to Obama. When Obama was in office, okay, went into the pockets of the same people who were profiting off of Homeland Security. So most people will not connect these dots, but the history of Smith & Wesson, okay? When you look at Smith & Wesson, it was bought out in a hostile takeover in 2001, okay? And was the government involved? Well, in 2001, it was also the year that DHS, Department of Homeland Security, sort of sprung up as some necessity that we needed, right? Because of the engineered 9/11 that killed real people, okay? So was it a coincidence? Do you know that the $200 million company was bought for $15 million? And that the rock bottom price was due to a firearm regulation by President Clinton. So, yeah, so well-laid plans again, right? Everything kind of goes according to plan. And then all of a sudden you have these things happen and there's no coincidence. I'm not a coincidence theorist, so not a coincidence. So it was bought for $15 million, and it was due to that firearm regulation in the 90s. And then after the initial plunge due to the Clinton regulation, their sales actually skyrocketed. So is this a coincidence? So the buyer of Smith & Wesson was a startup company named Safety Hammer. And then we were told that they were the maker of gun locks, but it wasn't. It was a startup company with no history of making anything. Safety Hammer never manufactured a lock independently before buying out Smith & Wesson. And it didn't manufacture one after it bought Smith & Wesson. So the company changed names to the Smith & Wesson Holding Group, which now has 83% institutional ownership. So what does that mean? So it means that the company is owned by institutions, mainly investment firms and banks. Who do you think are behind those? I swear, you guys. It's just rabbit hole after rabbit hole, and they're all kind of weirdly conjoined, okay? So the two biggest owners are Vanguard Group, okay, and Fidelity Investments. And the owners included the Royal Bank of Canada, ING, and Barclays. So then, so these investors are making off with people in both ways, right? Since the sale of Smith & Wesson, and since it kind of went through the roof, their sales. So they tax you for homeland security, which scares you into buying guns. And then the money you spend on guns also goes to them. And then the list of institutional investors, Smith & Wesson, okay, those two appear on this Project Censored 2013 list of the world's top investment firms, BlackRock, and UBS Switzerland, and Allianz Germany, Vanguard Group, PIMCO, Fidelity Investments, JP Morgan Asset Management. I could go on and on, right? Deutsche Bank. Okay. So the number is managed funds. So Vanguard and Fidelity were high on the list, and BlackRock bought out Barclays. Can't say all these words together. Investments in 2009, but Barclays still has company assets over $2 trillion. So the company assets for Barclays, not managed funds. So all these companies are really caught up in illegal activities in the past decade, including this the gigantic, well, there's all kinds of scandals, the ISDA fix scandal, the Libor scandal. So these people caught fixing the prices of just about everything. Many of them find hundreds of millions of dollars, but doesn't really dent them. Okay. So most of them have been caught laundering huge amounts of money. In fact, BlackRock is a huge money launderer from the government. They can just blame it on BlackRock, which is supposed to be private. Same with Vanguard. Same with all of these, because they don't have the government name on them, right? So Vanguard was prosecuted by the government in kind of a charade under the RICO Act for illegally investing clients' monies in offshore gambling sites, and they bought off the court. And so, and then Vanguard and BlackRock are invested in Sturm, Ruger and Company, a competitor to Smith & Wesson. So no matter what brand of gun you buy, they make money. So now, this is where leftists kind of go off the reservation a little bit. They never blame government, but they blame the billionaires. Okay. And then on our right, we don't even blame really the government. We only blame the leftists. So everyone has kind of the wrong group that they're blaming. All of this goes back to deep state. All of this goes back to who's actually running the government, who's in those investment firms that launder the money. I mean, it isn't just billionaires. It's billionaires and government greasing palms of hands to do business. And so a lot of people don't make that connection on the left, sadly. But it is honestly the both. So I just wanted to bring this up because a lot of people didn't realize how much the buying of the guns was manipulated. Okay. And on our right, we kind of have a hard time seeing that. And it isn't all about the money, because Department of Homeland Security, one of the major reasons they went in was because of the mechanism of control, right? And then the militarization of our police force. So that was the main reason. The guns were sort of a secondary. But if you ask a leftist will say, oh no, it was the profiteering off the gun. No, it wasn't. That is part of it. And that's why I'm bringing it up. It's part of what can happen. It's part of the fallout. Kind of like right now, if you said the tick was all about illness, causing illness and causing you to want to take their pharma stuff and all of that. But really, it's a war on meat. Okay, so if you go to war on meat, then you'll kind of understand the long-term fallout plan. So that's what I'm talking about today. Long-term fallout plans. That's what it's so important that I think we really realize this and understand it. There's so many things to talk about today, but I was kind of thinking about Schwarzenegger and how they were building him up to be a hero, and how they're doing that right now. And no matter who's in office, the fakery of it all. And I know people have a hard time with that. They think the governors run the states. They think the presidents run the country. They think the congressmen are actually doing their thing. They're not. They're not. They show up. They all collect a paycheck. But it's not about that. It's about the facade. If you are a governor in America right now, I promise you that you are part of the club. You are not standing up for anything. You are not. You can throw so many birthdays for the 250 years celebrating America's freedom and liberty. But yeah, air quotes and all. But it isn't about that. It isn't about that. It's about recognizing the fakery of it. These people are basically kind of told by these groups behind the governorships and the presidency, like, what to do. And they are willing to do it. Okay? They're willing. So they are to blame because they're willing to do what they're told to do. But it's on the public for us to finally figure that out, for us to finally go, hey, we're getting so lied to. And what do? They keep our distractions on stuff like this. Heidi Klum was a supermodel, was she not? Anyway, yeah, that's bizarre. They keep all of our eyeballs on this. I was kind of looking at, the Trump AI photos and the Iran Lego videos and all of these different things. And I'm laughing because we fall for it every time. The AI photos. When does the president have time to put up AI photos? They don't. And so all of this is distraction. Iran doing the Lego videos is a distraction. It's not real. It's all theater. And the war is theater. The war is so theater that it was kind of like this. I saw a video of Schwarzenegger telling the Russians what to think and that they were being lied to. And I wanted to just go through the screen and just like strangle him and be like, you're being lied to. So it's kind of a weird game, is it not? It's just a weird game. All right. So if anybody wants to, you're spot on. So David says, that's why I think voting is obviously rigged. I'm in Michigan and Gretchen Whitmore is a witch. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. She's an evil little thing, that little Gretchen. I don't know what kind of witchcraft she's doing, but yep, I'm with you on that one. All of them are. She was told to go with the lockdown. See, they all did. Kristi Noem kind of did, mostly didn't. But there were other things that she did too, but people don't want to ever realize that. So they're all playing a part. But most people don't want to hear that. They want to hear that it's real, because otherwise I guess they give up hope. I don't know. So I don't give up hope on that at all. But I think people need to keep hearing it, because we're not hearing it enough from people. Alex is now off the air. I did the Alex show for a couple of years. I was the fourth hour. I did his fourth hour. And so Alex is doing a kind of a new show. I think it's Alex Jones Live. And when you go into the whole InfoWars thing, they took over InfoWars, painted InfoWars as a rainbow. And then now they're doing like a mock show, like the liberals are doing a mock show of InfoWars. And I'm going to say this again, because maybe people have to hear it on the daily. I don't know. When you have an audience of over 1 million, you're going to be controlled. Okay? And when I started asking the question, why is Trump running if he knows it's fixed? If he knows the race is fixed, why is he running again? Unless he's going in. And that's the only reason he would be running. That's why in 2022, I said he's definitely going in. Look, they're going to put him in. because they do control it. Because as a businessman, you would never run again if you knew it was fixed. Okay. You just wouldn't do it. And the media does their part to make sure people go in too. So I just found it, I don't know, just looking at all of the charades that are being played in front of us, looking at what we argue over, looking at kind of the divider things that we argue about. There are divisions. Okay. I'm not for abortion at all. And there are women that don't mind tearing a baby apart in a womb. They think it's liberation for them in some strange way because it's another person, but okay. So there are dividing factors that we just do not agree on. But at the end of the day, the political game is fixed for sure. There's just no doubt in my mind. And when you go through all of these well-laid plans, the ticks, the glyphosate, the normalizing autism now, doing shows about finding love with autism because they're not going to question why we have it. They're only going to go with it as a norm, right? Just like we do with Homeland Security. It's a norm. We don't question it anymore. We don't ask about its beginnings. War with Iran is a norm. We don't ask about why we're doing it. All of these things, data centers are becoming the norm. People are not fighting them because they think, well, they're already established. It still doesn't mean that in your own community, you can't raise a little hell, because you should, because people need to know how people feel about them. So it's really about like long-term plans being carried out by individuals that all play a part, and they might not know the whole plan, but they are in charge of their part and they are doing their part to make sure that plan happens. Same thing with 9/11. 9/11 was carried out with lots of parts of pieces of plans, but nobody really knew the whole plan, and unless you were at the very, very top of the echelon of the top. Okay. So everybody did their little part, right? The people that I remember the plane full of guys, the engineers, okay, were on that plane, and those people were killed. I can't say it went down because I think they were actually killed in a hangar 20 minutes outside of Logan Airport, but due to eyewitnesses. But I will say that people did their thing, not realizing the whole plan. Okay. Not realizing the whole thing. And that in of itself it's just diabolical how they do it. But they've been doing this for years, you guys, years and years and years. So I don't know if I don't think people, maybe they're catching on now. Let's hope. And let's hope it's not too late. Like, let's hope that there's actually a space in which we can still fight. I never think the fighting's over. I always think there's a little fight in us, and should be, and we should be still fighting. And it's probably why I do the show, because I think it's important. I think it's important. You're correct about 9/11. People so are into their selves. Yeah, they don't see what's going on around them. Thank you for that, David. Look, if you go read Rebecca Roth's books that are fiction, but not fiction, because she didn't want to get sued, go read those books. There's, I think, 5 of them. And they kind of tell you what happened on 9/11 with a lot of support from eyewitnesses and pilots that wanted to tell the truth and couldn't be heard. The Rebecca Roth series, go read those books. They're very, very enlightening. And finally, it'll make sense to you. Okay. I have an ebook coming out on organ donation, like this week. And I want you to grab that, because there's going to be some things in it. I might go over some of the things on Thursday, but there's some things in it that you need to know, because again, you guys, it goes back to carefully laid plans that started in 1968 and went forward to lay down a thought process by which we would all be kind of drawn into the heroic measures of organ transplantation. And it was people doing their part to make that plan happen. So very, very interesting stuff. And I'm telling you, there's so much there. There's so much there. to absorb. So I might do that a little bit on Thursday. It depends what guest I have on Thursday. But I am saying that it's much bigger than you thought it was. It's much bigger. And it'll be in this ebook that you can grab. And the ebook is cheap. But I just want to make sure, well, first of all, we have to support the show because this show is in trouble. Okay. So if you ever wanted to donate to a show to keep it on, this would be the time right now. Go to katedalleyradio.com, make a donation. PayPal is kate@katedalleyradio.com. They've made it extremely difficult for me to stay on this, even in this realm. So please do that. Okay, I'm going to take a caller really fast. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, Kate. This is George.
Hi, George. How are you?
I'm all right. I haven't called you, you know.
I know. What's up with that?
Well, I finally have an opportunity here to do it. I got no excuses, really. But I just really wanted to talk to people about supporting you. You know, I've supported
thanks.
you and
Yes,
other
you have.
patriots over the years financially.
Yes.
And people who don't do anything, which are most people.
Yeah.
If you're a patriot at heart, one thing you can do is send money to people who are on the front lines.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you are certainly there. And I can't praise you enough for your bravery.
Thank
Number
you.
one, your patriotism and the solution, you know, is law. I had that mentor I mentioned a few years ago, John Kottmeyer, who taught me a lot, taught me everything.
Right.
And then it was based in the Constitution, the laws. And when I was 40 years old, I'm 70 now, I got a gift of that dictionary, Snow Webster's 1828.
Okay.
Do you have that?
I don't.
That's a nice gift for, a scholar. There's a dictionary, Noah Webster's 1828, it's called. It's the first dictionary of the American English language.
Okay.
And one time I was looking up the word jurisprudence, which is the science or philosophy of law.
Right.
And helping to define that word jurisprudence, Noah Webster stated, he made a sentence in the dictionary there under jurisprudence that the study of jurisprudence next to that of theology is most important and helpful to men.
Okay.
So we take this back with the law, but oh my God, Kate, it's so far gone.
Yes, it is.
And my mentor, John Kottmeyer, called them Socialist Party A, Socialist Party B. And
you know what? You're right. Yes.
And Bastiat, in that little book of the law, which, boy, if people haven't read that, that's your number one read.
I used to say that all the time on the show. If you want to know what I'm talking about, and if you want a starting point, Bastiat the Law, and read that as a quick read, and then of course Don's book, The President Makers.
Right.
Don Fotheringham.
Yeah. Bastiat warned. Yeah. People, you have to read that. It's the argument for private property and all the arguments against socialism. But what did he say? Oh yeah, when you come to this point of practicing socialism, good luck. See, everybody's caught up in it now. It's just
somebody on the thread wants you to look up the word wheel, WEAL, in your dictionary. So do that for next time if you don't have it handy.
Right.
I love it. Thank you. I'm so glad you called in. Thank you.
Well, anyway, carry on.
Thanks.
God bless you. I love you. And
thanks. I really appreciate you.
You're such a patriot. And once again, people, send Kate a few dollars worth of silver.
Thank you. That'd be awesome.
Or those who listen with a little bit of money, send a couple ounces of gold.
There you go. There you go. Cash is fine.
Anyway,
whatever. We just have to keep going. So
let me plug Kottmeyer's video.
Sure.
If you go to YouTube and search John Kottmeyer, Kotmair, just the facts.
Yes.
You'll see it's an old, it's an old production. I sat through it. I was John's best friend for 30 years, and I really miss him. What a wise man. I went to him for all my questions. But anyway, he gave me a foundation that just is great.
Nice.
But if you search YouTube, John Kottmeyer, Kotmair, just the facts, there's a 12-hour video series on the Constitution, particularly pertaining to federal tax law.
Right.
And of course, he explains the Federal Reserve System and the symbiotic relationship between the IRS and the Federal Reserve, And
Oh boy.
anyway, I could go on and on about all this stuff, and you do such a great job. But
thank you. Appreciate you.
Once
Thank
again.
you.
Oh, what are you doing? An hour now from?
Yeah, an hour. It kind of goes over sometimes. Like right now, it's an hour 15. It just kind of depends. Yeah, it depends on the content I've got, which is a lot actually easier than the radio. I was on the radio for so long, and it was so like dialed in, 13-minute segments. You know.
And what time is it there now?
Oh gosh, it's 3:13 in Utah. But I don't miss the erectile dysfunction ads. Just for the record. Yeah, they would put them on my show to kind of like punish me. I swear to you, I had more erectile dysfunction. I started thinking I had an ED problem. They had more erectile dysfunction ads than I've ever seen in my life on any particular show. They would put them on mine, and I do feel like it was a manipulation attack.
Yeah, so you're getting ready to sign off now, I suppose.
Thank you. Yes, I am. But thank you for calling in, George. I really appreciate you. You've been awesome.
God bless you and your family.
Thank
and,
you.
Carry on.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm hopeful.
I know. I am too. And we all should be. We shouldn't be without hope.
As the world's greatest pessimist, I'm still hopeful.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And that was the other thing you were talking about, the AI centers. And what did I ask you? The AI centers. You say they're possibly for prisons, which makes sense.
I do think so. The space.
But I've been saying that they haven't completed the surveillance state, and these AI centers are to complete the surveillance state with the digital currency and wallet.
They just don't need that kind of space to do it when we have technology that can fit in a little tiny thing in your fit in a watch. We don't need the space. So the space is what really I started investigating why they needed the space that they did. And it was also to raise the prices, because if you look at the WEF 2030, it was you'll own nothing. Well, how do you own nothing in this economy? We're America. Of course you can own a house, you could do these things, but it was going to make it so that home ownership was going to become so difficult with the cost of utilities, insurance, remember the fires, right? Insurance, utilities, hurricanes, all those things are causing insurance to go up. So the price of insurance, utilities, and water you could basically get a home, but you couldn't afford to live in it. So that's why they need the space of the data centers. I think.
So I was instructed to look in Noah Webster's 1828 WEAL.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, you tell me what it is.
Wait, what did you just say? I'm sorry. You cut out.
You tell me what the definition of that is. Do you know?
I don't. Of what?
I'll check it out.
Okay.
Thank God for AI.
Yes.
I had an argument with AI. It's fun arguing with AI because he's so stupid when it comes to common sense and straightforwardness on the law, the Constitution.
Thank you. Thanks for your call, George. I'm gonna have to sign off. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I really appreciate him. He's a really good guy. So he's been listening to the show for a long time. I was on the air for 16 years and then it got censored so many times. So, there's a reason when you talk about things, they don't want you talking about them in big on the air, because then, of course, people can hear you that are like average citizens or truckers or people on the highway or whatever. So radio is extremely, extremely, extremely controlled. Just know that. And then also the well-laid plans part of this. Everything has this well-laid plan to it. And that's why I'm not a coincidence theorist. I never could be. And so the people that mock conspiracy theorists, they kind of look like as themselves kind of a joke because they don't understand what well-laid plans are. It means they don't have the intellect to grasp like connecting dots and understanding things and thought process. And so I think it's very, very difficult to process long laid plans and how they get done without a lot of people kind of realizing what's going on. But when I look at Department of Homeland Security and I look at these data centers and I look at all of these things that are going on right now, this war in Iran, everything is a well-crafted plan to bring up their well-crafted plans. They have plans for 2030. Conspicuously enough, 2040 is missing. Then they have 2050. When you go read those plans, things make sense more. And I don't see a lot of lefty loonies reading the plans. I think, it's like getting an IKEA dresser to put together and you're not even looking at the instructions. Okay. So they have instructions for what they're doing. How do you think they get there? If they can take data centers and they can say all utility and water are going to go to them first and you're going to get what's left, you don't think the prices are going to be completely jacked up? You don't think it's going to be hard to live in a home? Those data centers are not for data storage. Okay. I think they truly are going to be for people who don't believe the government, because they're already setting up the mental health problems that get people the diagnosis. Remember how many people landed in insane asylums for the weirdest, strangest things back in the 1800s and all the way up to 1950. Just go back and look at history and how they've done it, because they always repeat history. Okay. You don't agree with the government. You don't believe your mainstream news, even though it all repeats itself. You don't believe it. Well, here's a place for you. Here's a place for you. We've already built it. It's already in your neighborhood. You are already paying for it. And by the way, we've now made it harder for you to live in your home. So you might have to go rent, because living in a home is going to be way too hard, right? Price of a home, price of utilities, can't get insured in certain areas. This is all part of those plans, really, really well-laid plans. Because if you have a plan where the people in America own everything, and that's really what distinguishes us from a third world country, okay? Ownership. And you tell them you're not going to own anything. How do you get there? How do you get there? You throw in all these obstacles, manufactured. You do all these things. You manufacture a horrible economy based on war that is a lot of theater, because we own Iran. We own the bad guys in Iran. So we construct and manipulate a pageant, a war, and we sell it to the American people, and our economy's toast. And then people bitch about the economy, and then they don't know who to blame, and they just blame the Iran war. But they say, well, we're doing it for human rights. They're not doing it for human rights. They never do anything for human rights. They do it for control, power, money. They never do it for the people that live there. The leftists believe it. The leftists believe that we're doing it for human rights over and over and over again. It cracks me up to no end. Seriously, it's bizarre, but they do it. So I am going to go about finishing this ebook up. I'm going to post it. And on organ donation, I really want you to take a look at this, because this is information all written out that you can actually share with a family member and get them up to speed on this and get them off that organ donation list. Because by the end of this ebook, you're going to, and it's a short ebook, but it's powerful, you're going to want them off the list. Not because you don't ever want them to donate an organ, but you want to be able to control the situation, because the hospital will control it for you. And the term brain dead is not real. That was made up. There is not a term called brain dead. So I'm going to publish this ebook, and I really want you to share that, buy it, share it, go to katetalks.myshopify.com. Because then once they read the information and the history behind it, they will decide for themselves that they don't want to be on that list, and that if they want to donate an organ, they will do it by choice based on the situation, so that somebody isn't just putting your loved one to death for the organs, because that's happening. Okay. Also, the ebook on cancer is there. And I'm telling you that this is the ebook that spells out what to do, what works and what does not work when it comes to cancer. And this is for people specifically that do not want pharma. Okay. You get a cancer diagnosis, you're panicked, you don't know what to do. Do not do pharma. Please. I'm begging you, don't do pharma. There are so many other ways to do it, and they work. One of my very best friends was looking at stage 3 breast cancer. She is now cancer-free. Yeah. I am telling you that this is what I would do for my loved one. And this is the same exact information after studying and researching for 16 years. The best things that work, what doesn't work, what's studied, what isn't, the stuff they hide. This is actually what is working. Where to go for help, who to ask, who to listen to, what you should watch, what you shouldn't. So 14 pages of dialed in what to do if you get cancer. The reason I think this is vital right now is because it's 1 in 2 gets cancer in our lifetime now. So you're affected by it. Your family's affected by it. Everyone knows somebody with cancer or has died from cancer or living with cancer. You can also prevent cancer by doing the things in this book, this little booklet. Okay. So please go get this. It's at katetalks.myshopify.com. You want to save someone in your life? You want to save yourself? And you're not going to remember where this information is. So go get it now so that you can store it on your computer. Okay. Print it out so you have it in printed form. katetalks.myshopify.com. Okay. It's a $9. It's completely worth it. And I am telling you that to save a life, I would think $9 is worth it. It also helps me stay on the air. But I did it because people were asking me in Messenger all the time in an email for the same information. And I was like trying to send it to people. And I was like, this is what works. This doesn't. You know, I've interviewed 100 holistic doctors, the best in the world. This is what they say. And this is what's studied and what isn't. This is what you do. This is what's going to work. And don't go for the snake oil, go for this. And because everyone's going to have an opinion. And this is exactly why I published this book, this little booklet. It's 14 pages. You can read it very quickly, I promise. Go to katetalks.myshopify.com. This is going to be extremely important for you and your family and your friends because of the fact that cancer is on the rise now because of all these damn shots, okay? All these damn shots that people are taking, the toxins in our food, everything is leading us into disease. And if we don't know how to deal with it and take care of it, you can do it without pharma. The pharma rate is 97% death in a matter of years if you're doing any kind of like full chemo. So those aren't good rates. Go with what's healthier. You'll live longer. So go to katetalks.myshopify.com. Go get the book for somebody you love. Send it to them, okay? So that they have it. All right, $9. Go do it. My gosh, go get the information is key right now because people, what happens is they get the diagnosis and then they launch into like research. Well, I just did it all for you. There you go. Here's the research. I'm sharing it with you. I should have charged more, but I want to make it affordable for everybody. So it helps the show, but also it's key. It's vital. So I really appreciate all your nice comments about it too. Thank you for that. And of course, I am going to sign off. I have Melissa tomorrow and Susan. And then on Thursday, I'll probably talk about organ donation. I may have a guest on Thursday. And thank you for your support of the show. Go to katedalleyradio.com and support it. And all these deep dives I'm doing. The next deep dive I'm on top of right now, just to kind of clue in, and maybe I'll go there a little bit on Thursday, is about all of the things that aren't talked about from the 17 and 1800s, like missing. The things that are missing, the silence, and the orphan trains, things like that in the 1900s. The orphan trains were crazy, 1800s, 1900s. So many things that we need to understand and know about our history that have been hidden from us. So, you know, I always love history, but the more we understand history, then you understand what they're doing right now. Because the plans don't really change. You kind of do them over and over again, and they do dress rehearsals for bigger plans, right? We know that, right? Okay. And then go to katedalleyradio.com, go take your copper, formulaiq.com. They have a big sale going on right now. I take their Recuperate copper every day. And those minerals are very, very vital and important because the glyphosate eats up all those minerals and vitamins in your body. So crazy. Anyway, be faithful, be fearless. Find out why I say that on the website. I say it every day on the website since 2016. Be faithful, be fearless. I will see you back here tomorrow. So thanks you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate your calls, comments, everything. Thank you. KateDalleyRadio.com, katetalks.myshopify.com.